We go to the US now, and there's only 6 days to go now until the US election. Donald Trump was in Wisconsin yesterday, our time, and he's been taking full advantage of Joe Biden's dopey remark about Trump supporters being garbage, of course. Have a listen to this.
And I have to begin by saying 250 million Americans are not garbage. This week, Kamala has been comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. And now, speaking on a call for her campaign last night, crooked Joe Biden finally said what he and Kamala really think of our supporters. He called them garbage. No way. No way.
Yeah, well, the sitting president, Sleepy Joe Biden, he's hardly figured in this campaign, and his intervention is exactly the sort of help that Kamala Harris doesn't need. Laura Jays is taking it all in from Michigan.
Yeah, that's right. He hasn't featured much in this campaign. It's like they just threw him a shingle. It's kind of like that family member that's estranged. Christmas comes around, you think, oh, you know, he's been in the sin bin for a couple of Christmases now. Let's just invite him. He can't be that bad. And then he's unleashed and he does something like that. It does not help the Kamala campaign at all. And in these dying days of the campaign, these kinds of things really matter because it is so tight. The polls are showing it is so tight. And the momentum has really shifted this week between Trump and Kamala as well. You know, you had Trump with those comments at Madison Square Garden that was from that warm-up comedian. That was for days and days. There were ads made, all the talkback TV and radio stations were talking about it, then enter Joe Biden. So, look, it just stalls the momentum a bit, and it just means that everyone just gets a bit off message for a couple of hours or a couple of days. And I'm sure for the Kamala campaign, it is annoying.
Well, I think it's more than annoying. It's devastating to a degree, isn't it? Because it confirms a preconception about the Democrats looking down, sneering down at ordinary voters, especially Trump voters. Of course, Hillary Clinton had the same problem. And Donald Trump, you know, he's just across Lake Michigan from you in nearby Wisconsin campaigning, as is Kamala Harris. Of course, he's the master about turning this sort of a gaffe into a big positive for him. He was out and about in a dump truck today, climbs up into a dump truck, a garbage truck, focusing on the garbage metaphor, of course, and hitting back. He hopped up into this truck, as we can see. He had a few words to say too. Have a listen.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
So he's got the pictures there, Laura. The message is strong, and here's the message in his speech. Listen to what he says the Democrats are saying to Americans.
My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. That's true. You can't be president if you hate the American people, which I believe they do.
Wow, Laura, how does Kamala Harris counter that?
Yeah. Well, look, the thing is, it wasn't her, it was Joe Biden, and it reminds everyone, I guess, in some ways, why Joe Biden was rolled and Kamala Harris is now the presidential candidate. So perhaps they can turn that into a positive somehow on that, but it does bring back those memories of Hillary. The deplorables lost her the campaign. They lost her the presidency, and that comment was just diabolical in places like where I am, here in the Blue Wall in Detroit, in the state of Michigan. Do they give it, you know, they've got to now judge whether they give it a lot of credence, whether they kind of try and bury it, or they just try and ignore it altogether. But it does go to what people in this state of Michigan and other states like it think that the Democrats think of them, and that is that they're elite, that they somehow think they're better than them. And it matters. Back in 2016, Hillary lost this state to Donald Trump by something like 10,000 votes. There's not much in it.
Yeah, it's so important, isn't it? Wisconsin and Michigan both lost to Donald Trump by Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton famously didn't campaign in Michigan. She ignored it and lost it. Now, you're there now in Detroit. Obviously, Joe Biden won it back in 2020. Yeah. It's crucial for Kamala Harris to hang on to Michigan now as industrial state, a lot of workers, a lot of factory workers, also a lot of Muslim migrants who might be swayed by what's happening in the Middle East at the moment. You've been sampling opinion around Detroit. Tell us what you've picked up from voters today.
Yeah, let me just give you a bit of a flavour. It's only 15 electoral college votes. We're right on the border with Canada here. Detroit, you know, it's the Motor City. The other major factor here is a city just about half an hour from here. It's called Dearborn. It's 110,000 people in that city, and it is mostly Muslim Arab population. And this is the biggest Muslim Arab city in the whole of the United States. It's got the biggest mosque, and it has quite a bit of sway. Those voters are usually Democrat. This time around, what's happened between the last election and now is the Gaza war has broken out. Kamala Harris is copping a lot of heat for that because she's part of the current administration. Those people do not think this administration has done enough. So what it's done is it's splitting the vote many ways. Democrats won't even endorse Kamala Harris. Some are looking to Trump. Some won't vote at all, and others are looking for a third-party candidate who happens to be a Jewish Green. So that's what you're dealing with here. And when it comes down to just maybe 1,000, 10, 20,000 votes, that city matters so much. And not only that, what's happened, Chris, is the Democrats who don't want to endorse Kamala, don't want to campaign, it's taken a lot of that legwork out. So they're not door knocking. They're not just not voting. They're not rallying their community.
Yeah, that really hurts.
So I think Kamala Harris is going to have a real problem here. And they're looking to Trump, not from what he said, but what they think he might do. There's a lot of people I spoke to today believe he is like, oh, he'll end the war. And I can't believe he's going to stand by and let Israel do this. He'll stand up to world leaders. So that's the kind of view that you're getting here, and it is so disparate. It's split that city, absolutely.
Fascinating stuff, Laura, and as you say, Kamala Harris really needs Michigan and Wisconsin. We'll see how it plays out. Catch up with you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Good to see you.